Many people are willing to pay handsomely to attend motivational lectures, and they actually do. But even after these lectures, they are even less motivated than before, albeit with a lighter wallet. No, I haven't been to one yet, but I know people who have. And they still regularly attend motivational lectures, especially on the topic of how to earn money. As long as some people understand that only the lecturer earned motivational money, the train has mostly left the platform a long time ago. But even if I did not personally attend any of these motivational lectures, I still watched a few videos of these mass motivational events from the naked eye. Hello my friends. My name is Titan and welcome back to another episode of my channel. Especially those in packed halls, and I admit right away that, even though I don't really need these things, every performance by a stand-up comedian is much more likable and effective for me than the leaders of these motivational masses in the halls. Otherwise, there are very interesting scenes when a few thousand people in the hall jump at a certain expression of the leader and fall into a delirium of a unified movement. But what would all this be if immediately after leaving the hall, this same crowd becomes disunited? I admit that at the same time, I am a little worried at such scenes, although in the same breath, I admit that a motivator who can bring such a crowd into a unified subordinate movement can only be very capable and bright, and I do not dare to claim that for those who are hypnotized, they follow his every move. But since in these cases, the focus is only on business for one and cost for the others, I don't delve into the extras. But it can only be when the debate about the motivational speeches of leaders addressing their people, where other components are in the foreground. The world's greatest leaders, whether remembered for good or not, were not necessarily great motivators of their people, but those who managed to create unsuspected unity and awareness of the majority of citizens towards their country. I believe that it must have, or a great motivator has, above all, a natural talent for leadership skills, which is of course not enough if the other components of the social pulse and a whole lot of compactness are not added to it, which create the difference between a great and an average motivator. It's like if the writer of the text of the motivational speech presented his words to 10 different people, and it would be difficult for more than one of them to demonstrate the persuasiveness of the performance. Yes, the writers of motivational speeches are an important part of most leaders, but at the same time, it is clear that those who knew and know how to address their people in a motivational way are precisely those who compose their own words and then present them. And when I look at our parliamentary motivators, whose primary task is to motivate the nation, it is only clear to me that they mainly borrow the speeches of great successful leader motivators from history, but of course, in their presentations, they sound unhappy, even funny, and cause anything but motivation nation. As a result, too much of the nation is already unmotivated or is motivated in a completely unnecessary direction, but I cannot attribute this so much to the comedy of the motivational confusions of these leaders of ours as to the fact that everyone has to create self-motivation themselves. And if someone knows how to self-motivate in the direction of materialism and making money, which is what too many modern motivators tend to do, then there shouldn't be any problem with self-motivation in the direction of caring for fellow human beings and nature. Presenting a motivational speech to an audience, whether it is a spontaneous address or a pre-prepared, topical, or generalized one, is somehow anything but easy. And that is also why the motivational speeches of the greatest of history are carefully preserved and passed down. You can't find pearls just anywhere. Once upon a time, almost 1,900 years ago, there lived Marcus Aurelius, a Roman general, emperor, and philosopher. His childhood did not show that he could ever become an emperor, but fate had its own plans. He spent most of his life on the battlefields, worshipped Greek philosophy, and was also a philosopher himself. But he was not the classic philosopher who would gather knowledge from books. He was the kind of philosopher who put his philosophy, according to which he lived, to paper based on his everyday experiences. From the people, for the people. Ethics was his driving direction, i.e. also emphasizing the importance of equality and connection between people, and he also realized that if a person wants to achieve long-sought and desired lasting happiness, then he must live in harmony with nature, and so Mark also wrote a motivational speech to himself at that time, as a result of the dialogue he had with himself and of the need for self-motivation every morning. Although centuries and thousands of years have passed since then, the motivational gem of Marcus Aurelius is still the top motivational speech of all time, and it seems that it will be for many years to come. This is how Mark wrote down his self-motivation, with which he got up every morning again and again, and put it into practice. When you find it difficult to get up in the morning, say to yourself, "I have to go to work like a man. Why should I complain if I'm going to do what I was born to do, the things for which I came into this world? Or is this what I was made for? To curl up under a blanket and stay warm? But it's nice here, so you were born to feel beautiful, instead of doing work and gaining new experiences? Don't you see plants, birds, ants, spiders, and bees, how they perform their tasks and put this world to the best of their ability? And you don't want to work as a human being? Why don't you jump to do what your nature requires of you? But sometimes we also have to sleep, I agree, but nature has set a limit for this as well as for food and drink. But you crossed that line. You had more than enough sleep. But it doesn't work either. You are still below the daily norm in this. You don't love yourself enough. Only if you had yourself, then you would love your nature and what it requires of you. Those people who love what they do, devote themselves completely to it, even forgetting to wash and eat. Do you perhaps have less respect for your nature than an engraver for what he engraves, a dancer for dancing, a poor man for money, a careerist for a career? When they are really engrossed in their work, they would rather stop eating and sleeping than give up improving their skills. Does helping others have any value for you? Isn't it worth your effort? I would be honored if you would subscribe to my channel and hit that famous bell. I hope you enjoyed in this video and learned something new. Thank you.